What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special Monday edition of the AFC Northcast. We're going to do things a little differently this week. It's going to be our only episode of the week. We're going to talk about what just happened in Week 16 and what's going to happen in Week 17 as we close out the division for the year and head into the playoffs. And I'm joined tonight by the lovely Chad.
Steelers Chad coming at you. We're going to keep it positive tonight, people.
It might be a tall task, but if we see Chad slipping into the darkness, we'll snatch him back out of it.
Thank you. It's hard. It's been a long day and a half of meditation and a lot of Eastern philosophy.
So before we tiptoe the edge of the shadow realm, by talking about that fiasco up in the Northeast, let's take a trip to Cleveland, Ohio, where the Ravens played the Browns this week. And it was really a tale of almost a half and then the last 2 minutes of the first half and the rest of the game.
So I want you to break down what I believe is the key time frame, which I believe is the last 1 minute and 18 seconds of the half. And then I'm going to ask you at least one follow-up question about that.
Okay. Yeah, so to set the stage for everybody, the Ravens and the Browns had played to a 6-0 game with 1 minute and 50 seconds left in the first half. All right. So the Browns were up 6-0. The defense was doing a very good job of limiting the Ravens, especially on the ground. Lamar was slow to start in the pass game. And I just a credit to the Browns. It wasn't really anything that the Ravens were doing poorly. Just maybe not quite executing on some of the read option stuff. Not converting on third downs, not converting on fourth downs like they had so far this year. But the defense was able to keep them in it. And it didn't feel like an unsustainable thing for the Browns defense. They were just playing really well. Redwine was everywhere and Randall was everywhere. They were doing a good job on the tight ends. But the Ravens get the ball with about 1 minute and 50 seconds left. I think that's the time stamp. And in 2 plays, they score a touchdown. It's like a Mark Ingram 20-something yard run. And then a Mark Andrews like 30-ish yard, I think, touchdown catch. So 2 plays, boom, hit the extra point, which the reason it was 6-0 was not because of 2 field goals. It was because the Browns missed an extra point.
Austin Seibert.
Yep.
The man who won the kicking competition.
So just like that, it's 7-6, and the Ravens have the lead, but not quite in control. And on the next possession, Baker Mayfield throws 3 straight incompletions. I think that's what gets us down to like 1 minute 18-ish. Let's see. I'll let me square this away for us here. All right. 3 straight incompletions. So the drive started with 1 minute 18, the Browns drive. So the Browns got the ball back with 1 minute 18. 3 straight incompletions, 55 seconds left in the half. Mind you, the Ravens had no timeouts before the 2-minute warning. All their timeouts were gone.
Right.
So the Ravens get the ball back. Short pass, short pass, short pass, short pass, short pass touchdown with 15 seconds left. So in 40 seconds, they scored again to go up 14-6 at the half. Very much in control of the game at this point. Lamar Jackson threw for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns inside of the 2-minute warning of the first half. and that was really it. The Ravens got the ball to start the second half and did the old well-coached teams thing, because we always called it the Patriots thing, but it's well-coached teams do it, which the Ravens didn't even have to defer. Dumb old Freddie Kitchens received the ball to start the first half and didn't score on the opening drive anyways, and then gave the Ravens the ball to start the second half. So then it was 21-6, and it was never really the Browns pulled almost within a score towards the end of the game. They scored from the the Ravens and Browns traded field goals. Yeah, so the Ravens scored a touchdown and then the Browns kicked a field goal, so it was 21-9. And then it was 24-9 and the Browns scored, and they had the decision to make to go and just kick the extra point and be down 8 and worry about the 2-point conversion later. Freddie went for the 2-point conversion and missed it. So then they're down 9. So they scored a touchdown and we're still down 2 scores. And then that was like the final nail in the coffin for the Browns.
So for the record, I don't hate the decision of the Browns to take the ball first. I know that it goes against the general belief of like scoring last in the half and then getting the ball back, but the Ravens haven't been made to play behind very much this year, and when they have played behind, it's been worse. Um, and the Browns, we've talked about it on this podcast, the Browns traditionally have had very good scripted plays. So I think it was within reality for them to believe that they could score on their opening drive and at least start the game off ahead, so that they're if you're going to play hopscotch and play this game, at least you are the one that hopped first. So I don't hate that. And I asked you about the last minute 18, but it's because I just didn't know the right time stuff because I didn't get to see the game because it's Monday and didn't have time. What I really wanted to talk about is the Browns series right before the 2-minute warning that led to the first Ravens touchdown. And specifically, the Browns ran a trick play halfback pass on either second or third down that the Ravens like blew up, and it led to the first Browns punt. And I believe it was actually on a 3rd-and-1 play. Do you remember that halfback pass at all? It was like a silly trick play.
Yeah, Hunt was going to throw it, right?
And I don't know who it
think.
was. That's what I know.
Yeah, on 3rd-and-1, Kareem Hunt, right end for -8 yards. Lineman was eligible.
So here's the thing. A lot of people that I listen to, specifically Browns Nation, thought that this was really stupid on 3rd-and-1 to run this play. And Kitchens said that he was going to go for it on 4th down if it was like an incomplete pass. So it's not like they ignored Chubb as an option. The plan was to take a shot down the field. Now, to me, this makes perfect sense. The Ravens secondary is awesome. If there's one time that you might be able to catch him in like a safety not necessarily paying attention or in single high or maybe even zero coverage, this is the time, because it's 3rd-and-1 and you need that yard. Like, you can get the Ravens to be gambling. So yeah, it didn't work, but I don't actually criticize Freddie Kitchens for making this decision. I think it's acknowledged that when you're playing a better team, or at least a team that's playing better, you need to take some aggressive risks. And actually, I really like the timing of this because I think you could catch the Ravens gambling on the run. They just gambled and executed it better. What do you think?
Yeah, I I can be talked into being all right with it, I think, but it was real deep in their own territory too. So I don't know if I would have gone for it on 4th down before the 2-minute warning or right after the 2-minute warning anyways from like my own 28. Like, that's real risky, especially against an offense like the Ravens. Yeah, that call in itself, nothing that happened before the half is like really what did the Browns in, because they controlled the half. When they get the ball back, I understand that there's a minute 15 left, and they had, I think, 1 or 2 timeouts, but man, to take 20 seconds off the clock and give the ball right back, like, throw a run after the first incompletion. It's 2nd and 10. You're on your own 24. No, that's the wrong drive. 20. You're on your own 25. So 2nd and 10 on your own 25 with a minute and 10 seconds left. Typically, run the ball, see what happens. But like, I don't know. It just feels like poor clock management from Freddie.
And Kitchens did say that if he could go back, he would have run the ball on the second, third down to at least get the clock going.
Yeah, because the Ravens had no timeouts. You very easily could have, like, even take a shot on first down, take a shot on second down, and after 2 incompletions, just run the ball on third down to get the clock going. So the snap on third down was at 1:07. So you can run it down to like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then punt, and then you're down 7-6 going into the half. Like, no big deal. So
yeah, so that felt like a mistake. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about that trick play because I didn't watch the game, so I didn't know like how bad it looked or how it felt. But to me, especially like coming from a team with a terrible offense that needs to hit moments, that 3rd and 1, and I didn't know what yard line it was from, but if in your head you're going for it on 4th down anyway, that's when you take the shot like that. And maybe you don't run a trick play, I don't know, but you take the shot. I was okay with that as a play call. But the Browns stink. So any other like major Kitchens blunders? I saw a video of Odell Beckham like yelling at him real hard on the sideline. What was that all about?
That was just after it was after the 2-point conversion play. So no idea what it was about. Didn't listen to any post-game stuff about it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was fired up for a good long while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the going for 2 and the drive inside 2 minutes between the Ravens touchdowns were really like the 2 moments that stood out as like, if something different happens there, it's totally different. Like, so the Ravens scored on the drive following the failed 2-point conversion, and the announcers were saying like, if anything was going to give the Browns hope, it would be the Ravens scoring as quick as they did, because they went from up 9 points to up 16 points. So the Browns still needed 2 scores anyways and got the ball back sooner. And so if they were going to do something, like, it saved them time. But yeah, in the second half, I mean, the first drive of the second half was like 7.5 minutes. Like, the Ravens just started to get on a roll and go downhill. Ingram left the game with, I think, just like a calf cramp, but Gus Edwards filled in and Justice Hill ran for a touchdown. Like, the Ravens still did the rushing thing. So it wasn't in question really at all in the second half.
So I'll only ask you questions about things that we know 100%. Emotionally, in your heart, how does it feel to have the MVP and the first seed in the playoffs home field advantage throughout?
It's really weird. I don't know how to answer that question.
Is it like, weird because you've been acting like it's a foregone conclusion since like week 1 when they
maybe
put up the 50 burger against Miami?
But now that it's a reality, like, it's still, I don't know, it's weird. The Ravens have always done best in like an underdog role as a franchise. They won both of their Super Bowls from the 4 seed, playing on Wild Card Weekend, going on the road in the divisional round and the championship round. so it's going to be different. But this whole season's been different. You know, all the records that these guys are breaking. It's like, oh, Lamar Jackson broke Vinny Testaverde's single season touchdown record. That was in the first season in franchise history, 96. And they actually had like a pretty decent offense and a crappy defense.
Yeah, the
And
record stunk. I remember. I heard something about that on the radio.
and so, and it's not even a great 33 touchdowns. Like, it's not even like a crazy record. So one of the receiving records that Andrews was going after was held by Torrey Smith and Michael Jackson, who was a wide receiver in that 96 season for the Ravens. So it's something that having the dependable offense is still not something that I've gotten used to, really. I don't know. It's just weird. It's kind of surreal. It doesn't feel right.
Does it feel a little better knowing that your defense is starting to round into form, so you can still sort of cheer the way that you're used to?
Yeah.
And then the bonus is just the winning by like 35 because you're actually scoring touchdowns.
Right. Yeah. Instead of 17-10 football games.
Okay, I'm done with this. Let's move on. We're going to talk about how good the Ravens are again later.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The Steelers played. They had a chance to maintain control over the 6th seed in the playoffs. They had a chance to make myself look smart when I talked about how they're a good team. They had a chance to capture the hearts and minds of Steelers Nation, continue the Duck Dynasty. What they did was lose 16-10 to the Jets. I told you I wasn't going to go through this game in detail, and I'm going to not really look at my notes much, but there's a couple things that kind of matter about. One is that they start slow. This team starts slow every week. Usually it's the offense, but it's also the defense. The defense takes time to get rolling. They went down 14-0 against the Dolphins. They went down to the Colts by multiple scores. And in this game, the Jets scored a touchdown on their first drive. It might have been their first third down. Minkah Fitzpatrick lost sight of the football. It was like thrown to him, but instead of just catching it, he ran into, I don't even know, and got a pass interference call instead of a turnover. And that drive ended on, frankly, like a really, really nice Sam Darnold pass over double coverage to Robbie Anderson for a 30-yard touchdown. The Steelers down 7-0. And like, look, this team scores 17 points a game. Like 7, that's like 40% of the points that you're going to score, and you already gave it up, and it's 3 minutes in the game. I would be remiss if I didn't criticize Terrell Edmonds, who was playing a shallow strong safety position, but you can see it if you watch the replay. Like, he's assigned bracket coverage on Robbie Anderson, and he just like isn't fast enough or doesn't play a good angle, and he just gets beat deep. And like, when you're playing double coverage on a receiver, like, someone's got to be sort of over the top. Like, you just can't get beat that way. It's embarrassing. So credit to Sam Darnold for making a nice throw, because they still closed on the ball. It was a good throw. So that was a real downer. And so the Steelers were kind of playing from behind from the get-go. And the second big deal thing that occurred was that Duck threw multiple interceptions in this game. The Steelers need to win turnover battle. They need to win it in a big way. And Duck's 2 interceptions were pretty bad. The first one was on classic Greg Williams. We talked about it. We talked about it, guys, on Thursday. Greg Williams, he's going to throw some funny business blitzes at you. So he lines his linebacker way out wide. And he's all excited. He's like tensed up, like he's going to blitz. And Duck sees him. They make eye contact, like in the wild, you know? And then they snap the ball. The linebacker takes like 1 or 2 aggressive steps forward, and then he just drops. And Duck never sees it. You know, great quarterbacks have this like peripheral vision or understanding of where the rush is. And so once they don't feel that presence, they know that they're in coverage, and Duck just didn't. And the linebacker dropped right into the crossing route space and jumped and made a nice catch. And he made Duck look like a rookie. And that was a problem. And then on maybe not the next drive, but what would be Duck's supposed last drive, they get into the red zone. James Conner's looking good. The red zone's the running game's looking pretty good. And on like kind of a long third down, Duck just stares down, of all people, Jalen Samuels running like a deep post, like, and he just throws it off his back foot and is like very easily intercepted by, I believe the guy's name's Marcus May, and that name is important for me to hopefully get right because he's going to play a role at the very end of this game summary. And so at that point, there's like a lot of commentator speculation. It's not, and Duck does not come back into the game at that point. And it's like the first half, the Steelers are down. I think they're down 10-3. Or no, they were down 10-0 when Duck went out of the game. And it's like, dude, now this is bad, right? The Steelers they've benched everybody now. Like,
Yeah.
whatever case that I make to Steelers Nation on this podcast, the reality is that they have two benched quarterbacks. Like, everybody's been benched, so they're not good, right? Like, you don't bench good players, you bench players that aren't good enough. So Rudolph comes back in the game and actually looks pretty good. He's pretty decisive. He's making quick reads, so I'm going to credit some of that to maybe Fiegner adjusting some of his routes to maybe quicker progressing routes, but Rudolph is reading it. They get a field goal, and then TJ Watt comes in and he does defensive player of the year type things, a la strip, sack, fumble, recovery, all in one sweet move. And then he does a sweet punt kick where his like does a gymnast split, and he's flexing. It's awesome. And then they throw a touchdown with like 9 seconds left in the half. Inconceivable. Like, there's only one thing you can do in my mind, and that's kick a field goal. But instead, they run a play, and the Jets just let Deontay in single coverage run straight by some schmuck. And dude, Rudolph lays it in there. He puts it in the breadbasket. I mean, this is like the type of throw we've been celebrating Lamar for making all year. Hit your receiver in stride when he gets over the top. It was awesome. Steelers tied 10-10. Everybody's excited. Hey, this is what it's like when you're a Steeler fan. You're fired up because you're about to maybe, hopefully, take the lead against the Jets. And then it just really gets ugly. The Steelers defense makes like one bad play every 25 minutes of game time. And they start the second half by ignoring a tight end, just ignoring him, like, because the guy that I told you guys all to care about, turns out he was injured. I did not look closely enough at the injury report. So they have this other loser. The Steelers decided it didn't matter, and he just lines it out wide. No one guards him. So they get like a 40-yard gain, kick a field goal, which would be the winning points. And then Rudolph gets crushed. Pouncey gets hurt, which I didn't even, like, I cared emotionally because I like him, but I didn't care because he already had 2 bad snaps in the game, and I was like, you can't get much worse than that. You can get worse because Finney had a bad snap, and then he stepped on Mason's foot, and then Mason got slammed to the ground as he was trying to hand the ball off, and he got hurt. So then Mason is now out of the game, right? Mason's out of the game. So you now are bringing back the dude you benched. Like, I don't care how in the books you are and how much you're looking at those photographs. When you get benched in the middle of the game, you're just not planning on playing anymore. Like, you're just not. Like, not even Tom Brady, not even Peyton Manning. Like, you're looking at the photographs, but in your head, all you can think is, like, I blew it. So Duck gets back in the game, and they don't play well. They eventually give up another drive. The Jets go up 16-0 on another field goal. So now we're talking, 3 field goals and 1 touchdown that first drive. And the Steelers show a little life. At the very end of the game, they get down into scoring range, and Duck throws his best pass, maybe yet. It's not underthrown. He throws a deep ball to James Washington. Known for his strong hands, James gets his hands on the ball in the end zone, and Marcus May, of earlier in the game interception stardom, tears the ball out of his hands. Like, it's just awesome defense. Like, it's just an awesome defensive play in one-on-one coverage, one guy versus one guy, and he just did it. And it was third down, and it was great. And I hated it, but you kind of just have to celebrate it. Defenders, all the rules are stacked against him, and he made a killer play to save the game because they're down by a touchdown. Like, they're gonna win. They're down by 6. And then on 4th and 7, Juju jumped a little early on a pass over the middle. A lot of Steelers Nation are mad at Juju. He's probably coming back a little early from an injury
Right.
to help them get in the playoffs. And yeah, he jumped a little early. It was double coverage. Like, he's super covered. I think Duck threw a good pass for the situation. You throw it where your receiver can get it. And you hope it's 4th and 7. Time's running out, and that was it. And they lost. And basically, what I'm trying to say is the defense is still amazing. Like, they gave up one drive in this game.
Yep.
Like, and the offense stinks. They're like really bad, really bad. And I will also say that this is the second game in which James Conner's like tried to play and then left with an injury. And even though the Steelers have won without James Conner, they seem to just like fall apart when he leaves mid-game. Like, they forget that they already have game plans in place for Benny Snell. So it's really, really disappointing. Steelers no longer in control of their playoff destiny, maybe for the better.
Yeah, I was I was gonna ask if excuse me, and I know Connor was involved in the genesis of when Rudolph first came in against Cincinnati, like his first good game, and it was like the dink and dunk thing, and they were getting the short passing game involved, and they went away from that, as you hope to, with the quarterbacks growing in confidence and experience. But it seems like when they really needed to manufacture something over the last month, even, they never went back to that. They went back to the Wildcat, and they went back to some of the silly stuff like that, but they never went back to just the shorter pass type of game with these quarterbacks. Do you think there's anything to that, or anything that points to some of this on Fichtner?
Um, I do a little bit, but also, I guess, I think that there's kind of proof in the pudding in particularly Duck's ability to read the middle of the field well. Um, the middle of the field is advanced stuff. That's just the way it is. Like, good quarterbacks succeed throwing in the middle of the field, and bad quarterbacks don't. If you're a bad quarterback with a good arm, you can throw out routes and back shoulder fades and streaks all day, and you might even have a career. And if you're a bad quarterback with a bad arm, you throw screen passes and curl routes and hope
Yeah.
people don't jump it. You hope that you're not playing Marcus Peters. Um, I don't think that Duck ever, and we saw it really, especially in the last 2 games. Like, he never got comfortable being blitzed. He's not fast as a decision maker right now. Now, I'm not as fast to indict a player in total. And please don't laugh at me. I'm not comparing either of these players to Lamar Jackson's talent, but Lamar Jackson was not a good quarterback for his first, what, 7 starts? That's how many he
Yeah,
made last
the
year.
first season. Yep.
Yep, bad quarterback. We all made fun of him throughout the preseason, and he's getting better. He's getting a lot better now, that he's made 23 starts. So, Mason's made 7 or 8 starts. Duck made 6. I don't know how good they could be, but right now, Duck especially, I just don't know if he can read those routes fast enough. I think they're hoping for one-on-one down the field stuff and simpler stuff. But the blitzing, yeah, I don't know. They've tried a little of everything. The running game's inconsistent,
Yeah.
which is frustrating. Even yesterday, I noticed a couple times, like, dude, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, dude, we all our teams played this team. We talk about it all the time. Le'Veon Bell, inefficient runner this year. He looked good. Le'Veon Bell looked good. I meant to go back and look at his stats because I don't think they were very good. But the key is take whatever his numbers are, subtract one carry, and add 11 yards. Because he had a carry at the end of the first half, and it was a big play by the Steelers D, but he lost 11 yards on one carry, trying to turn it back around up the field. And like, dude, that kind of stuff like changes your yards per carry by
Yeah.
like a yard per carry. You know,
Yeah.
he was pretty effective in the running game, and yeah, the I will say that the defense is definitely a bend don't break. Like the Steelers defense will give up some first downs. They'll give up some 1st and 10, 5 to 6 yard runs, and they'll sort of work their way into it, and then they'll make, this with the Ravens D. Then they
Yeah.
string together like two or three big plays, and then the drive is
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
But
The
it's
Steelers do the like, they they're they're big drive killers. The sacks and the turnovers are like the two things that they're leading the league in. Like those are things
right.
they're not shutting teams down as far as drives go, but they're ending drives abruptly. You know, get them into a 3rd and 18 all of a sudden with a sack or something like that, or turn the ball over.
Yeah. So I mean, that was basically the story of it. I mean, there's I'm trying to stay positive,
Yeah,
stay
yeah,
positive. It's house money. It's house money. But I will
yeah,
say the one thing that's disappointing is the way this team starts games, because like even as bad as they played, like if you just play 60 minutes and you start out right from the gun,
yeah,
you win a couple more games this year, and this is one of them. They just couldn't. Minka just didn't see that ball, or what. But it's fine. I'm sure the Steelers won a couple games on similar scenarios where other teams are looking at it like that. So now they are no longer in control of their playoff destiny. 8-7.
yeah.
We'll see.
So it's gonna be interesting though, because so both the Steelers and the Titans play teams that don't have anything to play for. The Ravens and the Texans. They're both locked in. The Texans cannot gain a first round bye.
But they can gain the 3 seed, technically.
What time does Kansas City play? Do you know?
I think they play at 1. Yeah, they play the Chargers at 1.
So they'll know if Kansas City wins, the Texans can't get the 3 seed, and so they'll know. Um, but it'll be interesting. It's still not out of the realm of possibility for the Steelers to win and the Titans to find a way to lose. I don't know if Derrick Henry's going to play next week. He has a hamstring. That's why he didn't play this week. So,
Without
but
him, it's,
yeah,
that's a big deal.
yeah. Either way, if the beginning of the season you said, "Hey, you're going to lose Ben for the whole year after a week and a half," and James and Juju for a good bit in the middle, both James and Juju both in the middle of the year for a good bit, like you're gonna lose Mason Rudolph for a stretch, like 8-8 if they lose next week, or even 9-7. Like that's insane. That's great. You take that all the
Yeah.
time.
And,
So
these scenarios are always fun. But yeah, you say, look, you're going to start out 1-4. And if week 17, all you have to do is win and the Titans have to lose, sure.
yeah, that
Sure,
doesn't
why
suck.
not?
It's not like you don't need 4 results and
Nah.
crazy
And
shit.
it's the Titans. I make many, many losing bets saying the Titans are the worst team ever. So why not? Why not the Titans?
Hey, and they're 8-7. So you know what? Odds are, the Titans always find their way back to 500, no matter whether they're below it or above it. So
That's right.
there you go.
We can speculate on that a touch more if you want, since we're going to preview the other games. How about we talk about the most exciting game in the history of competing to be the
God,
worst.
I wish this game was played the Sunday before the NFL draft, like for the number one pick.
Yeah.
Man, because that's the only thing that would have made this game better. This game was incredible. You had two of Week 16's top three passers in yardage. You had two touchdowns with two 2-point conversions inside the final 2 minutes of the game, the final minute of the game.
Yeah.
Like, this was fantastic. You had an onside kick recovered. Of course, we're talking about the Bengals at the Dolphins. The Bengals earn an overtime loss.
I mean, this is like, if you're a Bengals fan, you couldn't have scripted a better way for this game to go.
Yeah.
Like, all the excitement any football fan could ever hope for. And you get the best player in college football, as determined by your A grade super team of two scouts. Your two scout team is, you get to just choose. You get anybody you want. It's the
they,
best.
they have to take
It's the
Joe
best.
Burrow, right? Do they have to?
Honestly, I am not a person that watches much college football, but I would love to see them like trade this pick, go go back to 3 or 4, and take Tua. I think I like Tua better. You know what Joe Burrow said in an interview he wants to do in his 40-yard dash?
4-6.
Dude, that's not good enough. He runs all the time.
Yeah, I know you're a big proponent of in the group chat, guys are always talking about Joe Burrow running, and you're
He's
always the
not gonna.
voice of reason who's like, this is not going to translate to the NFL, guys.
Yeah, he's like, I don't. I mean, unless someone can, because I don't watch a ton. Like, if someone can tell me like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are the same size, and Josh Allen runs a 4.6, then maybe I'll start to convert. But that's just not how I see it, and I don't care to look it up. But look, he's great. Like, if they take Joe Burrow, I'm not gonna be over here doing like Twitter troll takes about how like terrible Joe Burrow is. He's having like what, I mean, every year for the last 3 years, a quarterback has had the best season ever. So now it's him until next year, um, when Trevor Lawrence does it before he gets the first round pick. But I just think Tua. I just like Tua. I just think he's great. He's younger. I know he's got the big injury, but I think it's not. I don't think it's a big deal. His mobility is more like Russell Wilson's to me, in that he understands it at the college level and doesn't force it. His deep ball is crazy. He's got crazy arm. Um, I'm a little nervous about the fact that Joe Burrow had like a plenty of mediocre play in college, including getting beat out at Ohio State by
Multiple
Haskins.
years, yeah.
Like, and apparently that happened with Dalton too, or no, Carson Palmer. Apparently Carson Palmer played like pretty poorly. The Bengals, Locked On Bengals, was talking about it. He had like basically like half of a great year his senior
Yeah,
year,
he
and then
sat behind everybody at USC, yeah.
yeah. So, maybe Joe Burrow's great, but I would not mind, because the Bengals, like, look, let's say they get Joe Burrows, and Joe Burrows is, Brett Favre reincarnate, or whoever you imagine is
Steve
good.
Young, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
Steve Young, sure.
I try to pick a
With-
mobile guy.
Sure, with that sweet 4.6, I get it. Um, like, are they good? No, they're not good. They need at least 10 starters to change, right? So, dude, if you think Tua is as good, trade down to that third pick, get Tua, and get another pick at like 8, or whatever,
Yeah.
like, and take. Hey, what do the Bengals need? Everything, but linebacker, offensive lineman. Like, you want to protect the guy that you're gonna pay $100
Yeah.
million to, like.
They are basically getting a first round draft pick, an additional one, Jonah Williams, coming back this year.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah.
But and I want to emphasize, I'm not criticizing the Bengals right now because they haven't done anything yet. And if they take Joe Burrow, that's fine. I'm just saying my uneducated, ignorant opinion, which thank you guys for listening to. But most importantly, this game was crazy. They're down 35-19 with I think a minute, and they're on, they're inside the 10. Fourth down, throw a touchdown to Tyler Boyd. It's 35-25. They go for 2. I don't remember what that play was, but they get it. It's 35-27, right?
Yep.
They kick an onside kick, which, by the way, Randy Bullock kicks. I don't know if he can do it in any sort of regularity because the ball is oblong and you can't make it do anything. But the ball rolls for 7 yards. Pow! Just pops up like it hit a spring. And it was beauteous. And then right as it pops up, the Bengals player leaps over everybody and they get it. It's just how they drew it up. It's just how you draw up the traditional onside kick. They get it. The first play, that now there's 40 seconds left? Something like that. First play is I think it's down the middle to Boyd, just 30 yards. Bam. Get him to the 25 or 20 yards. Second play, dude, they just run Tyler Eifert. Tyler Eifert, poor guy's been getting injured every year for his whole career. This dude's a stud. He runs down the middle. He gets that big booty in his defender's way, boxes him out, and jumps up and just catches it right in the middle of the end zone. You know, Andy Dalton threw 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Crazy. Yeah, that play was a Hail Mary. That's what it was. Close. It was closer, but it was all streaks. Throw a ball up.
Man. Yeah, because you know what? At that point, they're down 35-33, and the clock has expired. It is expired. The clock is at 0. So they run the 2-point conversion. They roll out uber athlete Andy Dalton. He probably runs a 4.6 too, and he rolls out, and he just runs it right in himself. The man who got benched. You benched this guy. Zach Taylor. He's a winner.
He's trying his damnedest to stick it to the Bengals.
Dude, he's just great play. And then they go to overtime, and it was a little sloppy. Let's be honest with ourselves. And eventually, Miami gets, they get down there, and time is running out. And if you're a Bengals fan, now you know. Because apparently, even if they tied, that still locked the Bengals in for the number 1 kick.
Yeah.
So once you knew that last play was that kick, all you had to do was not block it and return it for a touchdown. Glorious. Miami wins on a field goal kick, which made my pick correct. But man, this is exciting stuff. I mean, the Steelers couldn't score a touchdown for 30 minutes of football. The Bengals, 35 points, 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions with a minute left. That's just exciting stuff. So I'm just happy. I'm happy for Bengals fans. They got what they want, but they also got great competitive excitement. And you never, ever will lose a game like that again and be happy about it. So really, this is the time. Actually, quote from the Locked On Bengals podcast: "Is this what a playoff win feels like in upside down?" So for all the Stranger Things listeners out there,
that's exactly what this was.
Yeah, dude, it's it's got it all. So what a game. What a game. It's good that before the year ended, the best feelings we got out of a game were the Bengals.
Now, are you ready to get back to talking about grown men's body measurements?
Sure.
All right. Josh Allen is 6'5", 238. Joe Burrow is 6'4", 216. Understandable. He's a college kid. He's a little slight. He's got time to put some weight on. Josh Allen's 40 time at the combine was that would be fast as fuck. 4.75.
Damn. All right, Joe Burrows it is. Take him.
Take him today.
Take him. Design runs all day.
There you go.
You might as well run him like right out of the pocket because he's not going to have one.
It'll be the first like fluid pocket NFL offense. Like they don't even attempt to make a pocket.
Look, I think that Josh Allen was more than 216 coming out of college. He's like a big guy. He didn't,
I think he was
crazy bulk up. So he is known as a tough runner. But look, like I said, Joe Burrow, very reasonable. Lots of people watch more college football than I do, and he reads defenses incredibly well, and he has a strong arm. A lot going for him. I just think if you're the Bengals and you like Tua, you could actually build like a whole team while still getting the guy you want.
Yeah. Also, don't be mesmerized by that type of speed, because what Lamar Jackson is doing is especially exceptional, and his speed and agility and quickness is really unprecedented. So to expect another guy to be able to repeat this offense, a lot of the success of this offense is just Lamar Jackson not getting tackled. Like a lot of it. Like,
yeah,
Greg Roman's not doing anything super crazy, and the personnel fit, and they're doing some things right, but Lamar Jackson bails them out a lot. And he did again on Sunday. Every week he makes guys look like they've never fucking walked in their life before.
Yeah, it's comedy. So, and again, like, I'm not trying to say Burrows is going to do that.
No.
If he's not good enough at running, he's a much worse player because he does it a fair amount.
Yeah.
So if he can be successful, that's great. And like, based on your grown man measurements, it's a new segment. I hope we do every week. Maybe he's got he's obviously got a chance at it. He's going to be the number one pick.
Yeah. Man, we'll have 2 number 1 picks in the division then.
So, would you like to do players of the week and then talk a little bit about week 17, since we're going to have a little holiday, not do a Thursday cast. We're going to let people go back to their families.
For sure. So, we'll start with offensive player of the week. We'll get back to some normalcy, the way things should be. I'm nominating Lamar Jackson. He threw for 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, ran for another 103 yards on 17 carries. He makes the Ravens go. He threw for 138 yards inside the 2-minute warning in the first half and 2 scores. Like, he's a stud.
I want AFC Northcast Nation to unite behind me and the Red Rocket.
I knew that was coming.
Andy Dalton threw for pennies shy of 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. We just dialogued the entirety of the last few minutes of the fourth quarter. He's great. He changed his haircut a couple years ago so he doesn't look like a doofus anymore. That's important. He looks cool out there. He's a cool looking guy. And he's great. And he's going to go start for another team next year. And he gave the Bengals just a little tasty taste of what they're missing as he won a playoff game in the upside down.
There you have it. We'll get the poll up a little bit later. And defensive player of the week. I wanted to nominate... Well, I'll give my honorable mention first. In the now infamous 3 straight incompletions, 2-minute drill drive that the Browns had. 2nd and 3rd down, both consisted of pass breakups by Chuck Clark. So, once again, the unsung hero of the Ravens defense swung the game, basically. That the subsequent drive, like, that was a big sequence in the game. But my award is going to go to Marlon Humphrey. who had a game-sealing interception on a horrendous throw as he was being knocked to the ground by Baker Mayfield. But the most important part was that the closest receiver was Odell Beckham Jr. And moments prior, Odell Beckham Jr. scored a touchdown to bring the Browns to stay within 2 scores. And like a real asshole, Odell Beckham Jr. started doing like the little dance that like the Ravens have been doing when they score up and down the field. And I was like, man, that guy's such a fucking asshole. Like, you're losing by like a zillion points and you're mocking the other team. But it led to one of the greatest gifts I've seen from this last week of football, because the TV cameras caught Marcus Peters on the sideline heading into a commercial break, taunting Odell Beckham Jr. from the sideline after the Marlon Humphrey interception, doing it again with like some absurd look on his face. But Marlon Humphrey, he's fantastic. OBJ had 4 catches for like 40 yards in this game. He was a non-factor, as he's been much of the Brown season. But following their first matchup where Marlon Humphrey had to choke out OBJ to put him in his place, this week all he had to do was intercept a last-ditch effort.
Marlon Humphrey's a great player. He's established. I am going to nominate a guy, and in doing so, sort of nominate our little 3-person scouting department here at the AFC Northcast. We talked about this guy in the preseason. We talked about this guy a little bit on Thursday. We said there's a puncher's chance you might see this guy play defense, and if you do, you should be a little bit excited. Just a little bit excited. I'm nominating Darius Phillips for the Cincinnati Bengals. He comes in for an injured William Jackson in this game. He has an interception. He does strong work defending Devontae Adams. I get them all mixed up. I get the one on my Parker. Adams is on Green Bay. I knew I'd say the wrong one. Anyway, he's been awesome. Parker's been like an unstoppable force the last month until he met Darius Phillips. And then in overtime, he forgot that the Bengals wanted the number 1 pick. So when Miami's driving the ball on their first drive, they throw the ball to the tight end. He's the only one on the Bengals that doesn't know that the Bengals don't guard tight ends. I thought it was a forced fumble, but he separates Gesicki from the ball, ends that first OT drive. He's a baller, man. He's a baller. Darius Phillips. I'm nominating Darius Phillips, Defensive Player of the Week.
I like that nomination a lot. Hell yeah. All right, so there's our nominations. We used a little bit of Bengals talk to just roll into Week 17. The Bengals and the Browns play. I don't know where it is.
It's I know this one. Keep talking about it.
I don't think it really even matters where it is.
Cincy.
We've been talking for weeks about Freddie Kitchens' job. Man, if they lose to the Bengals, I mean, the Bengals are free to just fuck around and win whatever. Yeah, and that could be dangerous. It's a rookie head coach off. So, man, I really don't know. I don't know. The Browns on paper should dominate, but they just don't do that. They don't do that to anybody. And they're 2 weeks removed from getting fucking ass blasted by the Cardinals. So,
yeah, dude. Cincinnati, I don't know if we've said it enough, but they are locked in as the number 1 draft pick. So they can come out here and they can throw all their best plays and they can do all the funny business. Yep. And they can be faking punts and doing weird last place team shit. And
hell yeah.
Frankly,
I can't wait.
Their special teams is good. Darius Phillips returning kickoffs, Erickson returning punts. Andy Dalton threw for 400 yards last week, and for the record, that's a very Dalton-like thing to do. He was leading or close to leading the league in yards, benched ceremoniously on his birthday. Like he is building a resume to make what do you think he's going to get paid next year? 18 to 20 something
Yeah, I was
million
gonna say
dollars by
17. Yeah,
someone like the Bears to like get them to the playoffs. Like he's going to play. Like he's going to play well. Hey, and guess what? You know who else has been playing well for the second half of the year? Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon isn't slouching around. Joe Mixon got food poisoning on the airplane to Miami, according to the team, which is why he had a pretty bad game. I think he got drunk. That's just me. Justin, who is not with us today, doesn't like rumors. This isn't even a rumor because I didn't read it. I'm making it up, but I think it's true. I think I think Joe Mixon had one too many mimosas because he didn't give a shit.
he got
He's like,
that Miami flu.
yeah, he's like, I'm gonna get to 1,000 yards. It doesn't matter. Well, you know what, Joe? You're a couple yards short. I think he's gonna have a great week this week. Tyler Eifert's playing great. CJ Uzama got his first touchdown. That's their second tight end. They can run out the two tight end sets. I
He's a
mean,
fucking killer in Madden too. CJ Uzama run that two tight end set with Eifert and Uzama. My little
he should
created
be.
quarterback got drafted by the Bengals, and we fucking slay.
But like you said, I mean, the Browns, the talent's all there. It's, will they play? Will they play a good game? I don't know. I don't know.
And this game's at 1, so we can watch it. I might just have to put some money on the Bengals and just root real fucking hard for the Bengals in this game.
You almost have to. I mean, like,
They're going to be
and
getting points. I mean,
if you listen to this, Justin, I think you know that we say it with love, but this Browns failure has a level of comedy to it that it's big. It's kind of like for you watching the Steelers play like three quarterbacks back and forth. Like that was funny for you, and it's okay. It should be. Um, they're headed in different directions right now. Like the Browns are headed in a bad direction right now, and the Bengals are kind of headed in a good direction. Like they're
they feel as good as you can feel for a one loss football, a one win football team. Like the feeling, they feel good. Like I don't know what it is.
and by the way, Jermaine Pratt, still not a perfect linebacker. 10 tackles this past week. He's been leading the team in tackles like on a weekly basis for the last month and a half. Like, expect this guy to be on the team next year and expect him to play better. Expect him to be a little better. And if you're playing better than 10 tackles a game, he's basically halfway to being Joe Schobert.
I was just about to say, if only we had another linebacker in the division who makes a ton of tackles, maybe not so great in coverage all the time,
But good
slightly
enough.
less pigmentation.
So this is actually a fun game. I agree. I think all ourselves should be excited to watch this game at 1 o'clock. Get a last little dose of I guess the side of the division that we've all grown to know and love, the Ohio side.
Yeah.
Get a little sideline yelling, maybe a botched screen. I want to see just another Joe Mixon 40-yard screen with an illegal block in the back by Alex Erickson. Just give me one more of those this year. Just one more. You can do it.
I want to take this time to highlight. I've seen the finest Baker Mayfield commercial yesterday of all of the State Farm commercials, and I've only seen it once. I don't know if it just came out or if it's been out for a while, but he's been doing that thing where like the stadium is his home, and you
Yeah, I
have
love
like
it.
the circuit breaker ones and this and that, and so he's standing in the bathroom at the stadium. You've seen this one,
I
and he's
have. I
on the
love it.
phone with like a plumber, and he's like, well, yeah, I have a lot of other ones, but I'm having 60,000 people over this weekend. It's like, yes. And that one actually got me to laugh out loud. And so props to
Dude,
Baker Mayfield.
they all make me laugh out loud. Like the one where he walks away from the fire alarm and then it beeps and he just turns over his shoulder and looks at it. Like, dude, that's money. Everybody's done that. Everybody's done that, trying to figure out which one's beeping.
There's one where he like runs into like a stadium worker and he's like eating a bowl of cereal like in a bathrobe. That one's really good too.
Yeah, he's good. Anyone that says he did too many commercials and isn't playing well enough,
Get out of here.
I
Yeah.
think that you're underestimating the nature of the sophomore slump and not appreciating some of Baker's finest talents. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Me too.
So, we move from a game that means absolutely nothing to a game that may also mean absolutely nothing. Uh, you got your parade planning Baltimore Ravens. They're sending all their best Pro Bowlers to the committee this week.
Yeah.
Could you just remind our listeners who exactly has already been confirmed to be on the parade planning committee this week?
So the parade planning committee that will be just turns out that there's a planning meeting at 4:25 on Sunday, so they're not going to be able to make the game. According to Coach Harbaugh, is Lamar, Marshall Yanda, Mark Ingram, Brandon Williams, and Earl Thomas.
For those of you counting, that's 4 Pro Bowlers.
Yeah. And Brandon Williams, who has had some injury stuff. He also, though, made a point to say that, like, this is the NFL and you can't sit all your starters. Like guys are going to have to play. There's a 53-man roster and dudes are going to have to play. So the Ravens will be reduced, but this is not going to be you just don't have a roster on for a regular season game to like have whole lineups of backups. So like guys are going to be playing and they'll be rotating, like the corners will be rotating, I'm sure. Like they're not going to run guys ragged out there. But Harbaugh said, like the guys that are playing are going to try to win the game, and that's just how it goes. So
Yeah, so the Ravens have what, like three Pro Bowl corners, so they can't bench all of them.
well, 3 Pro Bowl defensive backs: Earl, Marlon Humphrey, and
Well,
Marcus
look,
Peters.
I'm saying based on your head, not what actually got voted this year,
Oh,
but like
yeah,
you would
3
you would
three Pro
consider
Bowl corners. Sure,
Jim
Jimmy
Marcus
Smith's been okay
Peters.
this year, but yeah,
Plus you got Brandon Carr. I mean,
yep,
and you got Chuck Clark. Like more than half of those guys are going to play in this game, and,
yeah.
and that's like probably enough.
Carr and Clark will probably start at safety.
Probably that's enough to guard the Steelers' wide receivers for the most part. Like
Yeah,
minus
Plaxico
maybe
Burress not walking through that door.
not likely. The Steelers are going to play everybody that they have,
Yeah,
which, which may not include Marquise Pouncey, and it's definitely not going to include Mason Rudolph. It's going to be Duck. It's going to be Duck Hodges. If you're rooting for another comedic quarterback carousel, you're going to be looking for Paxton Lynch, who will be the backup quarterback for the
I
Steelers
like
this year.
that.
Promoted from the practice squad. Very exciting.
Ooh, I like that
Guy
a
with
lot.
guy with a lot of potential. By potential, I mean already exhausted potential.
He's got moxie.
Sure, sure. I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't know if the Steelers can beat the Ravens backups. I don't know if in a 7-game series they could win that series against the Ravens backups. I think, are they playing RG3? He's the starter.
Yep.
I think he's pretty bad. I'm pretty sure that he's pretty bad now.
I hope, and it's a tall task because the Steelers' defense is very, very good. Man, wouldn't it be awesome if the Ravens could turn like one Week 17 game into like a second or third round draft pick for RG3?
That would be great. The other thing that you have to consider is one of the sex that the Ravens are kind of teetering on is the averaging 200 rushing yards and 200 passing yards for a whole season.
Yeah.
Look, I'll be honest with you. The Steelers have made most teams' running games look not very good on a yards per carry basis. But if I'm you, I would be relatively confident in Gus Edwards in this game.
I am.
Um, Justice Hill, I would be nervous about. I think he's the type of guy that breaks a 15-yarder on his first carry, and you're like, yeah, and then he fumbles 3 times. Like,
Yeah.
that's just my gut. But Gus Edwards, dude, like he can run against this Steelers defense, plausibly. Maybe not for 5 yards of carry like he's been doing, but like enough that they can get a few drives together and score. I mean, how many points do you think they need to score? 17, 20,
Yeah. I think 20 will do it.
13. um, I'm personally nervous about Gus Edwards. I don't know if RG3 will be able to take advantage of this, but just in general, the Ravens are like really built well to take advantage of the Steelers. The Steelers have struggled all year defending tight ends and just routes in the middle of the field, which is basically the Ravens' passing game.
Yeah.
Unless you're Miami and you just let people run ragged all the way deep,
Yeah.
but the Steelers don't. Um, So hopefully RG3 just can't do it because, and I'm assuming Mark Andrews also will not play in this game. He's been a little bit banged up this year and he hasn't been announced yet, but I don't think he'll play. But I don't know if
Yeah.
that matters. Like, I
I
think
think
that
he might be
honestly,
active. I would expect him to be active, but you see Boyle and Hurst out there a lot.
I think they're good enough. I think that if RG3 can like make those reads and do those things, like I think that's a mismatch in the Ravens' favor. I'm nervous. I mean, this is the type of game that the Steelers lose at full strength. Like a game that they absolutely should win. And right now, I don't know. Like, but I will say this, it's a playoff rival. If they can go into Baltimore, beat the Ravens, even their backups, like look, they're going to be like you said, they're going to be playing a lot of good talented players. Most of their offensive line, which is very good, will be playing. Um Patrick Ricard, Pro Bowler. Patrick Ricard's going to be in the game, all sorts. That he's going to be on defense. If they can win that game, that's an exciting end to the year, and it'll be a reminder for me and Steeler Nation. This season has been house money. You know, let's
Yeah.
hold this team down a little bit. Let's have our defense take some pride. They have classily blamed themselves for every loss even though it's so clearly they're the only reason that we're even competitive. Um, let's just go out there and blame ourselves for a win. Let's have a couple defensive touchdowns, and get out there and beat some backups that, you know what, they're playing for their careers. They're going to be trying. Like, and if Tennessee wins, you get what you deserve. You lost to the Jets. And if they
Yeah.
don't, we can grapple with the emotions of a probable beatdown at the hands of probably Kansas City. Like, I can't even describe to you how hard it's going to be for me to convince anyone on this podcast or in the
Yeah.
world that the Steelers can compete with Kansas City, which would be their likely opponent. Um, but fuck it, fuck it. Let's go. Let's go Steelers. One more
Hey,
round of
man.
Minka and Bud Dupree and Javon Hargrave getting messy, getting in people's faces. They're not playing Lamar, so they get to tackle somebody back there. Let's get some sacks. Let's get
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. You never know, man. You get some snow going in Kansas City in January. You get a Deontay Johnson return touchdown or something funny like that and hold the Chiefs down for like 17, 20 points. Like,
Well, the funny thing, and like, I'm not saying this to try to like publicly on the internet forever say that I think that this could realistically happen, but because the Steelers have very little offensive identity and they've switched their quarterbacks so much and they've done
yeah.
all this stuff, if they find a formula that is even moderately successful to the tune of 22 points per game over a playoff run, that like might be enough. Like if they play the Chiefs and the
Yep.
Chiefs have a bad game and then they play the Patriots and the Patriots like can't do
Have a
anything.
Patriots game. A
then
2019 Patriots game.
all of a sudden, it happens, and that's your 1%. But you know, if I was talking to the bettors on this podcast, I would not even bet on the Steelers to beat the Ravens backups. I just wouldn't. Like, the Ravens backups are pretty good, and they only need to score probably 17 points, which is sad, but it's my life.
While we're talking about the Patriots, I want to play a game. Patriots point totals against eventual playoff teams. I'm just doing this. Just came to my head just now. Bills, 16 points. This is how much the Patriots scored.
Okay.
Ravens, 20 points. Cowboys, 13 points. Or Eagles, whoever decides to not lose the NFC East, 17 points. Texans, 22 points. Chiefs, 16 points. Bills again, 24 points. So 24 points is the most the Patriots have scored against an AFC or NFC playoff team this year.
Except for the Steelers if they make it.
And it's correct. And that was week 1, 33 points. So, and that was a different team. That was before losing a bunch of guys, before they lost Devlin, before they lost Josh Gordon. That was when everybody thought the Pats were going to be an unstoppable offense. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the Steelers have a better defense than all the teams we just named. So,
all right, now I am going to play a game. Guess how many times the Ravens have scored between 20 and 30 points this year, or 20 and 29 points.
Oh gosh. 3 times.
That's right. Guess how many times they've scored less than 20?
None.
Correct.
The Chiefs game?
None.
None.
Guess how many times the Steelers have scored between 20 and 29 points?
3 times?
9.
Oh.
But all the rest
are below.
Under. So basically, it's just not good. Like, the most points the Steelers have scored is 27. One of the guys I listened to.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's been like over a year since the Steelers scored 28 points. Calendar. And the Ravens average, what? 29, 30, 33, 30, like.
Yeah.
So if the Ravens can even approach their average, the Steelers will have to do what has proven like
what they haven't
impossible
done yet this year.
Yeah, like, so that's just, and again, it sounds like I'm making fun of my team, but what I'm actually doing is just reminding everybody like how good this defense has been to keep this team competitive. Like, this team holds other opponents to absurdly poor levels of production and still sometimes loses. That's what we're watching.
And that analysis right there we will send in to NFL Films to open the Steelers Super Bowl DVD with. Sevenberg.
Can't wait. What a fucking story that would be.
Oh man.
Well, I finished my drink.
Yeah, I think we ran pretty good for like a combined episode there.
Yeah, so if you guys want to enjoy it throughout the week, just stop it after we do Players of the Week, and then come the day after Christmas when you're cooling down, you're vacuuming, you're eating some leftover breakfast casserole or turkey, whatever your Christmas tradition. And Joey, do you have a Christmas tradition for meals? Do you eat anything special on Thanksgiving or Christmas or Christmas Eve?
No, we do a lot of cookies, so we're gonna do some of that. We're excuse me. So my son is 3, and my daughter will be 1 in January, and so we're kind of building tradition. So this year will be the first year that we don't do Christmas morning at grandparents' houses, and we do it at our home. So we're building some traditions this year. We'll probably do some fun pancakes with whipped cream and craziness and stuff like that in the morning, and then we're going over to their place for Christmas dinner. So pretty traditional Christmas dinner, um, and lots of cookies. Gonna smash a bunch of cookies.
Nice. I like it.
How about yourself?
My tradition was always with my mom to have like a really fun kind of fancy meat that we wouldn't normally afford or buy very often during the year on Christmas Eve. So we would get like really nice steaks and just like have like a great steak dinner on Christmas Eve and then have a really nice brunch on Christmas, like after presents, eggs or egg casserole or whatever, and bacon and all that. And then dinner, I don't even know. So what that's kind of turned into in my household is that like a fancy Christmas Eve dinner, big old Christmas breakfast. We're gonna do, some sweets, some cinnamon rolls, all that kind of stuff, and breakfast casserole, and then probably just like snacking and cheese plates for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Cheese, crackers, sausage.
So one tradition as far as that goes. So typically when we're opening gifts, which for us, this part will be the day after Christmas because that's when my brother-in-law gets into town, and we'll open all of our generation will be together, and we'll all open gifts. So it'll be on the morning of the 26th. We do like bagels and cream cheese and lox with
Nice.
opening presents, and so will be a little bit of that.
That's what I love about Christmas is like Thanksgiving, everybody eats the same thing. Christmas, everybody has traditions, but they're like all over the place.
Yeah.
Like bagels and lox, that's great.
Yeah.
Keep that one. Keep that one.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, it's a good one. So, all right, everybody, have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy Hanukkah. Whatever you celebrate, be happy. I have some Jewish family. They just get Chinese food every Christmas
I can get behind that.
because that's who's open on Christmas. Chinese, they don't give a damn.
Christmas story.
That's right.
Chop that duck.
So enjoy some basketball. Enjoy whatever you're going to enjoy on Christmas Day. And we'll see you back here. We don't know quite what the schedule's going to be. If we're doing 1 episode a week or 2 with the playoffs and the Ravens not even having a game on Wild Card Weekend. So you might get some award season type of stuff,
Yeah,
type
keep
of
an eye out
content.
for the AFC North, all AFC North team. It's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome. We don't even know how we're gonna do it yet, which is how I know it's gonna be great.
So it should be interesting at the least. Maybe we get some healthy debate. I'm sure there's guaranteed to be some Joe Schobert debate on that episode. I think it's guaranteed. It's a goddamn
Yeah.
guarantee.
I love it.
So on that note, maybe we'll find a way to get some kind of polls in for like an all AFC North team too. I don't know how that might work, but
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy week 17. There's a lot of games around the league that have some playoff seeding stakes. And depending on what happens in the early games, we'll have some stakes in the late games too. And the Steelers game and the Titans game. It'll be a good
Make
time.
sure to watch San Francisco play Seattle. One
Sunday
incredibly
night
successful
football,
team
man.
will be the first seed, and one incredibly successful team will be a wild card.
Yeah, we'll have to play in Philly probably on Wild Card Weekend.
Nobody wants to go to Philly.
Yuck. Yeah.
Nobody.
All right, everybody. Have a good one. We've said goodbye like 7 times. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.